Not so long ago, the insurance world warned us that they are going to raise rates. I think we can all agree they executed that. At the same time, they said that they were going to find ways to cut costs and manage costs. We're seeing insurers go back in time, if you will.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Airing of Grievances. My name is Eric Raymer. It's Robert Grieve, and as always, it's a pleasure to have you join us here on a Saturday morning at 9:30 a.m. in the Mountain Standard Time, or whenever it is you are watching this on the replay. Rob, happy Saturday to you.
Happy Saturday to you. Consumers, we got a show for you today.
Boy, howdy. Just look at the title, and you know it's going to be action-packed. Before we get there, if you're new to the channel, we want to welcome you, encourage you to subscribe. Every Saturday morning at 9:30 a.m., we go ahead and upload another consumer-driven, information-packed video that is designed to help you parse through the dangers that can actually really affect you and your life and the quality of life for others in the collision industry.
Yep.
And it's stuff you don't normally think about unless it happens to you.
This is a behind-the-scenes look.
Yeah, and we want you to be prepared in the event that you should ever, God forbid, need help in this area. All right, and with that, Rob, let's go ahead and set the stage here. We're talking about a situation where it almost sounds like an insurer is stepping over dollars to pick up dimes.
Could be. Could be.
What's happening?
Well, look, not so long ago, the insurance world warned us that they are going to raise rates. I think we can all agree they executed that very well.
They've executed it multiple of times in the last couple of 4 years.
At the same time, they said that they were going to find ways to cut costs and manage costs.
Okay, so they're increasing our rates, so they're cutting their costs, so they're making more profit.
Which is, I mean,
I don't have a problem.
you have to have profit in order to have a company. So
Okay.
I get that.
Yeah.
I get that. But there's a line, right? There's a line. And we're seeing insurers go back in time, if you will.
Wait. We're seeing insurers go back in time?
Yes, in their claims handling. And when I say that, I'm seeing items on estimates that I haven't seen since like the 80s. It's just we've just gone back in time and are not moving forward with the technology to the vehicles the way they are advancing today. And we're choosing to save money by really using procedures that are, old, and it's just not the way we fix cars, that's for sure.
Yeah, when you use the phrase, we're saving money or we're making decisions, that's
Insurers.
The insurers are making those decisions. Okay, Lucy, you got some splaining to do.
Yeah. So I'm going to read a little piece out of a policy here.
Okay.
And it's going to be very similar to what your policy language says, unless you have some premium coverage or maybe some riders. It'll still say this, but the rider would override what this says if you have an OEM rider for brand new OEM parts.
Gotcha.
But it says here, you, the consumer, and us, the insurer, you agree with us that repair estimates may include new, used, recycled, and reconditioned parts. Any of these parts may be either original equipment manufacturer parts or non-original equipment manufacturer parts. This is really important.
It's a wide brush that you're painting with.
Yeah, they can use anything, basically. They can use anything. I'm going to show a little case study here, and I'm going to say the most disturbing picture for the end of the conversation, because it's really worrisome for you, the consumer, and you should be aware of it. So I've said many, many times that you need to be an active participant when your vehicle is being repaired.
Yes.
And you need to get a copy of the estimate from not only the insurer, but the shop, and look at both of those. And there's going to be certain things you want to look for. One of those things is it's going to say quality used, or LKQ, which is like, kind, and quality. And we don't use those parts here, but many places do. And especially if you're taking it to one of the insurance approved shops, that's part of their agreement with the insurer, that they're going to utilize these if they're available.
I see.
And we're not talking about necessarily like a used headlight or, something along that lines, even though that can be incredibly problematic too, especially with the newer vehicles today. But I want to talk about welded in parts today. So parts that at the factory, you see the arms coming down and they're squeezing and welding all these intricate pieces of metal together.
Yeah.
I have this Progressive claim, and they've written for a used radiator support, LKQ, quality used part, whatever you want to refer it as, from the junkyard.
From the junkyard.
From the junkyard. And just so you can have an understanding of what a radiator support looks like, what we're describing here is all the metal that you see in the front, not the metal that it's attached to in the back.
Right.
So that needs to be replaced. A new one for this vehicle is about $860. The used one that they sourced is about $460.
Okay.
So there's a little bit of difference. They're going to save some money there. But are they? And at whose expense? It's your vehicle that the shop and the insurer are fixing. Well, the insurer's not fixing. The insurer's paying. The shop is fixing. But if somebody is going to put a used radiator support in your vehicle, you might be in the wrong place. So you need somebody to advocate for you that is not the right thing to do. You need to be aware by looking at the estimate what parts are being sourced and have open dialogue with the shop to know, what are you putting my car together with?
Right.
Because, again, there's lots of different things that they can use, and they'll use all of those different things depending on how, how much damage there is.
Okay.
So that's a car that we have in the shop here, and that's a car that's going to need a radiator support.
Yep.
Let's look at what a used radiator support looks like.
Oh.
A quality used radiator support.
I can't wait.
And we just pulled it up on the Google and put in, a support for this vehicle, used support for this vehicle, and there's a picture of what would arrive, a representation of what would arrive.
I see. Okay.
And that is way more than just the radiator support. That's got the upper rails in it and the wheelhouses and everything else. And what you have to do is you have to disassemble that whole thing that is all welded together. So you have to cut all the welds, drill them out, however you're going to get it off of there. And then you have to do the same thing to the car that you're repairing. You have to get it off of there. And then you're going to put this, just the piece that you need, off of this one onto your vehicle.
I have at least one question. In the process, you said we have to either cut it off or drill out the welds. Doesn't that leave like big holes?
It absolutely can. It depends on how it's done, but
you can't weld air.
Well, you weld around it until it's filled in.
So you have to fill in the holes.
Yeah, it's ugly. It's ugly. So let's look at what we're talking about here. Real quickly, you can see all those round dots.
Yes.
And that's where the metal is fused together by robots in the factory.
All right.
Just, and it does all this. There's 100 or so of these attaching this radiator support to the rest of the pieces of metal on the car.
Okay.
Here's an example of 3 more of them.
Yeah.
And this is how the factory wants it done. They want it, this is called squeeze type resistant welding,
All right.
where it sends electricity through those pieces of metal and melts them all together in those places. So that's the preferred way to do it.
Yeah.
If you drill out those welds, and here you can see some more, each one of these dots has got a weld in it.
Yep.
If you drill through those and then separate the metal, now you have a hole in the piece that you're going to be welding to and a hole in the piece that you're going to be putting on.
Right.
If you buy a factory brand new one, it doesn't work that way.
It's already done. It's not wholly.
There's
It's
no holes.
welded.
There's no holes. You can squeeze type resistance weld it instead of mag welding it or MIG welding it. Yeah, there's another set. You can see the 2 at the bottom and all those going up. They would all have to be cut and separated on both panels, on the part that was purchased and on the vehicle, your vehicle, and then that part transferred over to your vehicle and then welded back on.
Now, Rob, I'm not an engineer by any stretch of the imagination, but let me just ask you this. If all of those things need to be cut out and then put back on and all that you just said, isn't metal structurally at its strongest when there are no holes?
Yeah, holes are not good.
That's bad, right?
Yeah, they're not good. No, we don't really prefer that method, and no manufacturer that I'm aware of would approve this type of repair. There's position statements out there that you can get that will support, and this particular vehicle, that's not considered a structural part, but there are many vehicles that it would be considered a structural part. And that makes it even more egregious, if you will.
Yeah, we're talking about a radiator support, which, I can intuit that is what holds the radiator. What else does a radiator support hold?
Oof. Okay, here's where it gets a little sketchy. Your airbag sensors are generally attached to the radiator support. And we know how important they are when you need them, right?
Right.
It's like a parachute. You don't need it to do anything until you need it.
Right.
And then when you need it to work.
Every
you
time.
To be able to count on it.
Yeah.
So we're going to, not we, they're suggesting that you put this used piece in there and, those mag welds, which is different than these squeeze type resistant welds, they're stronger. And that could change the timing of the airbags going off. Don't let anybody do this to your car. Don't let anybody do this to your car.
If somebody were to hack up something like that, it strikes me that what you get when you're done looks an awful lot like Frankenstein's monster.
Absolutely. And it totally devalues the vehicle. So today's vehicles also have radars in the front, so distance radars. They attach to this as well.
Right.
And can it be done? Of course, gets done all the time. Should it be done? Not in my world, and it shouldn't be in your world either. Let's go back to look at this used radiator support.
Okay.
LKQ, quality replacement part, you know? And I want to just go to the back side of that part. And so this is, the first one was looking at the front, this is looking at the back, and you can see all the different things that are going to have to be unwelded in order to weld a new one in. But what I'm seeing here is it's already been re-welded in, and the welds are horrible, rusting, and that could be what's going in your car.
Yeah, it's the horrible welds and the rust which is a corrosion which weakens the metal.
Yeah. So this support has already been repaired once, half-assed, and then if you look up here, you can see that seam sealer that's not factory seam sealer. So this thing has been damaged pretty good already and just kind of straightened out. This is a part that may be going into your vehicle, and folks, I wouldn't have it. I would push back on it. I would make sure that I'm dealing with a shop that would not put a piece of metal in my vehicle like that. And if you find yourself in that position, you need to hail somebody for some help.
Yeah.
There's many different types of appraisers out there that can get involved, and this would not be a satisfactory repair. And again, no manufacturer that I'm aware of supports this type of repair.
And putting a little paint over that is just lipstick on a pig.
Yeah, I mean, they already did, and it just, all the welds corroded.
Yeah.
And so, all those welds that you're seeing there, that is attached to the piece that would be going in the vehicle. It's
horrible.
Yeah. So I just wanted to make that, bring that awareness to you that this is a huge subject for today. People, insurers are writing these things, and shops are more than happy to put them in to have the work. And you want to stay away from this. Ask some questions when you're talking to the shop that you're going to choose. Do you use used parts? Do you use aftermarket parts? What is their position on it, and so on and so forth? Because you don't want this.
If you get that, you are exposed in many more ways than one.
Yep.
The value of your vehicle and the structural integrity of your vehicle, and quite possibly a life-saving 100th of a second when it comes to airbag deployment and all that kind of stuff.
All that stuff.
Yeah. Wow.
So, that's what I have, brother.
That's a lot. Thank you. Thank you for bringing this. Thank you for watching. Do us a favor, if you will. Please click the thumbs up. Let YouTube know that this is content that you appreciate seeing. And if you don't mind, share it. Share it with your friends. Share it with your family. This is important information. We hope you never need the services of a body shop. But if you do, choose wisely.
That's it. Happy Saturday to you.
Saturday.
My dear friends, happy Saturday to you. Don't let anybody do that to your vehicle. Have an amazing week, and I'll see you next Saturday. God bless.